My name is Rosa Diaz, and I am a first-year AmeriCorps member. Even though it's only been 1 year, I have been fortunate enough to have gained tremendous insight that I will carry on and apply to the rest of my life. How can 1 year possibly hold that much power, you might ask? It all started within the Pembridge Community Center in a place we call the Orange Room. After-school programs were in the beginning stage of getting into the midst of things, but before you knew it, 3 months passed and that classroom ran out 2 MCPS teachers. No, each room represents different grade levels. Orange Room had the 4th and 5th graders. I was placed in the Blue Room at the time with 2nd and 3rd. Miss Clady asked if I could sub in a couple times for the Orange Room, and I did as so because what could there be to question? Well, it didn't take long for me to realize that question was, what was she thinking? Fast forward to the first 2 weeks I had spent with them, I was mentally and physically drained. They had no remorse in living up to the actions that were expected from them. I almost lost sight as to why I love working with kids at one point, but it was at that time that it also made me realize how dedicated I was to my passion, or just how ridiculously stubborn I can be. And just like that, my mind was all made up. The next day, to Miss Clady's surprise, I asked if I could stay with the Orange Room for as long as possible. She didn't question me, and so proceeded to grant my request. I began to observe them before getting involved. Immediately, I noticed the lack of structure and responsibilities the students had. The kids were used to running the classroom how they wanted. It felt as some sort of entitlement because most of them grew up together, in the community and in programs. Little did they know I was already plotting to turn their world upside down. Days were now passing by, and I was assessing the situation gradually. I started with rearranging the entire classroom. I switched around tables, cubbies, materials, bookshelf, etc. It just seemed as if the classroom setting remained the same throughout the years. I wanted to slowly introduce change by working from the outside in. So what better way than to take away what's familiar around them and then learning to adapt to it. Over time, I found myself in very intricate situations with certain students, the 5th graders. They were a whole group mixed with boys and girls who shared a couple things in common: curiosity, intelligence, and trials. There was constant drama, back and forth bickering, bullying, and intimidation because they stand as a whole. Until I broke them down piece by piece. I went ahead with the boys. Their names should be nameless. 2 prankster peas in the pod. If one of them got in trouble, then best believe so did the other. They went down together. I worked constantly in keeping activities and consequences separated between the two, but of course they found ways around the inevitable. Trying to pull them apart wasn't working, so I took a more objective look at what they wanted and flipped it into an advantage. I gave them classroom jobs as my assistants to keep them busy, but also to work together productively. If they disappointed, I gave similar consequences with individual approaches. I had more luck building a bond with one of them than the other. One of them refused to open up, while the other was receptive once he confirmed to himself that I was trustworthy. I encouraged him to pursue his dream in becoming a comic book artist. He is extremely talented and has a passion for drawing and sketching, and even showed me his sketchbooks once. Soon enough, they seemed to have outgrown each other's antics, but still remained very good friends. The one that I became close to realized he preferred being praised on good behavior when I acknowledged it rather than bad. The other did as well, but it wasn't enough to implement change. Regardless, I remained true on my end for Brian, even though he could care less for it. He grew to like me, but that's about it. In the end, they both had to be suspended from the program for reasons that didn't concern one another at the least. I told them some habits take longer to break, and that's okay, as long as you keep pushing. Moving forward onto the girls, Kivana and Heliani. Every school, program, club, etc. has that one group referred to as Mean Girls. These girls created their own called Drama Squad, which doesn't exclude anybody unless they decide to do so. These girls were not afraid to test limits, boundaries, patience, authority, and anything else you can possibly think of. They were always up for a challenge because it fueled what they wanted the most: attention. It didn't take long for me to recognize the intent behind their behavior because I experienced it personally back in my days. I empathize with them because of this, allowing to place myself in their shoes and connect to what I knew then and what I know now. I formed strong individualistic bonds with each of the girls. Most of them grew close to me over time with this and considered me as one of their own best friends, while at the same time respecting boundaries and authority I had expected. Except for these two lovely ladies, they required much more effort. Even though they both grew to like me, I was still overlooked. Oh, I lost my place. I attempted problem-solving skills by channeling their behavior in positive ways that made them think it was all their idea in the first place. Respect was earned by them, not given. Kivana was never afraid and refused to back down during moments she sees necessary, making it impossible to communicate efficiently. Heliani was a dramatic line queen. She didn't care if you knew it either. She'd just talk until your ear fell off so you become the one who stops questioning her. Very well thought out tactics that seemed to work for the both of them, so I broke down some tactics of my own. Kivana was fairly simple to address, but we knew she had a temper. So we both came up with a technique that we felt comfortable with. We called it the 1-2-3 strike. We would give a signal with our fingers to let one another know how we were feeling. 1 meant, I'm just letting you know. 2 meant warning. And 3 meant strike. Strike meant she needs time necessary to gather herself together. This system worked out so well, I never even had to pass 1. Heliani was a different story. We worked constantly on delivering honesty no matter the circumstances, but dealing with the consequences when she needed to face them was not her cup of tea. She didn't like confrontation, but I worked my best at helping her distinguish confrontation and accepting responsibility. It was a roller coaster of moving forward and having setbacks. Unfortunately, they were both unable to attend their graduation in the end. All in all, I wish I could speak on all the students who really warmed my heart. They taught me practical skills such as classroom management and techniques on strategies. To be fair, I didn't have a concrete way of thinking when approaching this. I saw obstacles, faced them head on, and became knowledgeable along the way. Just as most humans in this world, we carry some sort of common sense and can differentiate between right and wrong. These students have been labeled since the jump and only prove what we set the bar for them to. When we stopped believing in them, they did too. That's the biggest lesson they were able to teach me. We can all feel neglected and self-doubt. We can all allow the opinions of others dictate who we think we are. We can feel like giving up. And so because we share these common feelings that most still experience today, then why not be the change and give the benefit of the doubt instead? What could be the harm? Inspire others to be great. Push them past what they know because they are capable of conquering the unknown. Believe in them even when they disappoint because mistakes are not meant to hold us back but push us forward. Every day we are learning something new, but that doesn't mean you'll get it right every time. I want to thank Project Change for giving me the experience and opportunity to change lives as it changed my own. You gave me the solid start to unlimited aspirations. I will never stop trying to be more than I was yesterday and less than what I know today. Time spent with you all helped shape me into a better person that I am. Thank you.